Hey, girls. Come on, girls. Come on, girls. Good mama. Good mama, yeah, good job. I think you're number one still, huh? Leading the group. And you brought the calves. Very nice. Very nice. What's up, buddy? Morning, everyone. It is windy. Hopefully I don't lose my sound here. I'll try and block the wind. As you can see, we're grazing. I'm gonna call this the first official paddock graze of 2022, which is crazy because it is May 9th. And we normally are strip grazing by April 15th. So just yesterday was when I released my most recent video about, a cold, wet spring delaying us. So that was about a week and a half ago. So actually it's probably closer to 2 weeks. So don't go, I better close this gate real quick. Hang on, buddy. Nope. So yeah, we're probably about 2 weeks. So I made that video hoping that I would have a week left before we would be doing this, but it was about 2 weeks. And honestly, I'm probably a little bit behind, especially for these first couple strips. I mean, this stuff is just, it's ready. And we are close to, we are definitely in, that phase 2 growth. So 3 leaf stage. A lot of this bunch grass is at 3 leaves. Some are even putting on 4. So we're getting close to them throwing up a boot, getting ready to go to seed. And again, most of this is the bunch grass. And for some reason, this strip right along this fence line, probably because it gets a lot of shade and retains a lot of moisture, always grows very quickly. It's kind of the first to be ready to graze. As we start to head west in the pasture, that stuff the bunch grass is definitely at a 3 leaf stage. A lot of the shorter grasses are not quite ready, but by the time we get there, I'm thinking they will be. So, I think this is that balance that everyone has to face every year, to where certain grass species have exploded. You want to get them grazed off before they put on a seed and essentially stop growing for the year. But then other grass species aren't quite ready. So we definitely could have been on here probably, 3, 4, 5 days ago. So yeah, my deciding factor, obviously I did a pasture walk last night, and again, I always try and look for, well, let's pull this one up here. Again, this is the bunch grass. So this is at, hey, you gonna eat that? So this is at, this is at its 3 leaf phase. So 1, 2, 3, as you can see, it's put on 3 blades. Some of them are even at 4. So there's another blade that's coming off down here. So really, really highly nutritious, the best nutrition that the grass is gonna be at, and it's gonna have the most potential for great regrowth as long as we don't graze it down too tightly. Some of the other grass species, again, they're getting there. They're not quite ready. Let's see if I can find one here. You're just gonna follow me around. You're gonna be in the frame the whole video. Let's see here. So the other thing I noticed is we do have some other grass species that are very, they're not short. They're, 6, 7 inches tall. Here's one, relatively short, but as you can see, that's got three leaves on it. It's just not very thick, but that's going to be putting on a boot. That's going to be getting ready to go to seed here before too long. So we want to get that clipped off so it doesn't go mature, lose all of its nutrition. We are at 4,000 square feet a day for a paddock. So this is split into two. So I've got two 2,000 square foot chunks here made out of this strip. They are just in a, obviously right now they're just in a 2,000 square foot. So this was the number I had from last year. The calves love the tall grass. This is the number that I had from last year's spring grazing. It was 4,000 square feet a day. Obviously in the spring, you want to keep them moving. You know, it's a race to get out there and start controlling a lot of that grass growth before it gets away from you. And you want to keep them moving in the sense as well that they're taking the top third, maybe half of the plant, and then getting off of it, because you want to be able to return to it quickly. You want to be able to come back around to it because you're going to be flying through all of your available pasture. You're going to be coming back to it quickly. So if you leave a lot of residual, obviously it'll be ready to be ready to be regrazed sooner. So I am curious to see how 4,000 square feet does for this group this year, simply because we have two lactating females now. Her and her had these two calves. They're lactating. Obviously they have a higher nutritional demand. They're going to be eating a lot more. Old headbanger over there, she is getting ready to calve here in about 20 days. So we will have 3 lactating females. The calves are starting to nibble on grass. They really, I mean, they're eating some, but obviously I don't consider them a big utilizer of the forage. So 4,000 square feet with 2, soon to be 3 lactating females. We'll see how it goes. If I need to open it up a little bit, I will. I also am obviously going to watch the weather, because if I need to open it up just to get through this quicker, to make sure this doesn't get too mature, go to seed, and the 4-acre lease that I do next door, I was walking that last night. That's starting to get there. It is definitely slow. I think I almost wanted to make a video last night about the difference in the grass growth readiness. They were both last year going into the winter, both our home 2.5 acres and that 4-acre lease over there, were left with relatively the same residual. I can honestly say that the lease next door probably had a little bit more taken off of it, but I mean, we're talking minimal. This stuff is definitely ready to go compared to that pasture next door. And one of the big reasons I think it is because of animal impact. If you've seen my other videos, you know that 4 acres next door had set stocking of very minimal amounts of animals for as long as I can remember. So it was severely underutilized for at least 20 years. Then when the owner sold, new owner came in, no animals were on that for a couple years before I put my cows on there for the first time last year. So the only thing I can think of is just the animal impact, the manure and the urine on the ground really helps to jumpstart the grass this time of year, because this stuff is ready to graze and that over there is not quite ready, but it's going to be there. So what I was getting at was, if I have to open them up, incoming. If I have to open up these strips more than 4,000 square feet a day just to get through the rest of this and get over next door before that stuff gets too mature, then I'm fine doing that. And then obviously, you always want, maybe not first of the season right away, but you always want to leave a little bit of the forage in every paddock to be able to set seed, to go to seed, right? I mean, this is how these pastures reseed themselves, just by producing their own seed and then being allowed to mature and dry up and then drop their seed. So a lot of scratching going on. You can see they're still getting rid of their winter hair coat because of the temperatures that we've had. It's been cold and it's been wet and it's been rainy, so I think they haven't quite gotten rid of their entire winter hair coat yet, but really interesting weather coming this week. close to 90 degrees today. Now they are saying it's supposed to stay overcast, which will help. Today is Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, over 90 degrees. In fact, they're saying Wednesday, they're looking at almost 95 degrees, which will be a record here for Iowa. That would be like what, May 12th, maybe May 11th, whatever, however many days away that is. 95 degrees. So that's gonna be nuts. These girls are gonna get hot, no doubt about it, because like I said, they do still have some of their winter hair coat on. So that's gonna be hot. Luckily, they're gonna have, unfortunately, not a lot of shade, because as you can see, a lot of these trees haven't put on full leaves yet. They're just now starting to bud out again because of the weather we've had. But they will have some shade being on this tree line here. What's up, Mama? You are tiny. You are just tiny. Every time I look at her, I think, this is number 3. Every time I look at her, I think maybe we should not breed her this year. Just give her a year to make sure her calf gets weaned at 9 to 12 months, and then just give her a year to put on some weight and some condition. Because she's small. I mean, she was this small last year, and she cycled really hard, and she got successfully bred on the first attempt, and she's had 2 calves, so she's just a small petite heifer. But it's easy to forget that when she's pregnant, and then all of a sudden she doesn't have a calf on board, and she's little. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning now, so I'm gonna give them, that calf's got fur stuck in its mouth. Hopefully Mama gets that out for it. The cows were rubbing on the trees, left a big old clob of hair on the tree, and then the calf came up and wanted to see what it was. Now it's stuck in its teeth. It's 7 o'clock in the morning now. I'll obviously be checking on them throughout the day. We'll come down and take a look at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, see how this is looking. We actually have some family coming in town tonight, and they're really excited to see the calves. So I might actually leave this lane set up just so I can get them back up to that front pasture. Let them run around this evening when family's over, so we can just kind of watch them from the deck, watch them from the house, and then wander through the pasture and have them running wild. So I might get them back up there tonight, but otherwise, I'm planning on 2,000 square feet twice a day. Oh, sorry, Mama. Didn't mean to elbow you. 2,000 square feet twice a day. We'll see where that gets us. The other thing that I've been thinking about that I need to consider here is what I want to do for these wires. When I had those 2 strips set up in that front pasture, the calves were coming and going from those strips. They were going under the wire. They're not really heavy enough to get a good shock. I really don't want them roaming free back here. We have had a resident coyote that moves through the area on a regular basis. Has been causing some panic with number 2 there. No one ever cared about the coyotes before, even with calves on the ground. They all just stayed close to their calf. They watched the coyote pass through, and we've never, as far as I have seen, and I have actually seen a lot of interactions. I've been lucky enough to see a lot of interactions, but as far as I have seen, I've never seen one of the coyotes out here try and pursue a calf or pursue one of these cows. So normally when it passes through, the mom hangs out with its calf, keeps it close, and if it gets too close, the coyote gets too close, or doesn't just move through the pasture, as a group, they'll actually start walking towards those coyotes. I've even seen them chase them out of here. For some reason, number 2 used to do that. Now that she has a calf on the ground, she kind of loses her mind. And I wish I had video of it, but all last week, so I was off for 4 days last week, all 4 nights last week, at around 10 o'clock at night and then about 2 o'clock in the morning, I would hear just the most panic screams. I mean, that's the best way I could put it. It was very intense moos that were coming off like screams. And I'd come out here, we got a little night vision binocular so I can see great. And she is chasing her calf around. She is behind it, yelling, screaming, pushing her calf around. Her calf's just trying to lay down. She'll get it up, she'll push it, to the point that almost the whole herd starts to panic. And at one point, even I saw them as a group racing across the pasture. That was fine, obviously, because they had that whole 2.5 acres to roam. But this was when a coyote was passing through this back pasture here. And it wasn't being aggressive. It wasn't pacing the fence line. It wasn't trying to get through. It was just doing its nightly move through our pasture. It would dig where it thought it could find something to eat, and then it would move on. My concern is that she has that same attitude and the same reaction when they're back here. And because they're in such a small, confined area, she pushes that calf through the wire. And now that calf is exposed, right? Now that calf is outside the wire, has this entire 2.5 acres that is unprotected. And I'm not 100% sure if mom will end up busting through the fence that they respect so well to get to her calf. So that was a very long story, a very long way to say I'm trying to decide if I run 2 or even 3 poly wires on my perimeter fence, just to give that calf even more of a barrier so they turn around. Bottom line is they have to be able to be back here with their calves and with nature. I mean, until that coyote gives me a reason to try and force it out of here by whatever means I have to, I'm not going to do anything. You know, we are predator friendly on this ranch. Like I said, they have given us 0 problems in the past. It is definitely a resident coyote. You know, it lives in the area. This is part of its normal territory. It's probably denned up somewhere close in the woods back there in the timber. It hasn't caused us problems. So I don't want to get rid of that animal and leave a void for now some transient coyote to come through that maybe will cause more problems, whether that be with dogs, barn cats, chickens, or the cows. You know, the one we have that's taken over this territory now so far has been, he's able to work with us. So we want to keep him. So we'll see. I always love watching the calves graze. It's so funny to see them be so tiny and chewing on grass. And even funnier when, you know, all of the cows are laying down and they are ruminating, they're chewing their cud. And then you see these little calves doing the same thing. I mean, we're talking weeks old, which is great. That means that they are healthy. They're starting to build that rumen microbe community, and they're starting to mature quickly, which is awesome. But it's just funny. You see these little 2-week-old calves laying there with their heads up in the air, chewing cud, and you have to think, are you actually digesting, or are you just doing that because you see mama and your aunts and uncles doing that? What's up, number 2? You gonna come over and get some milk? Of course. Ugh. Always the baby. Gotta have the attention on him. All right, guys, that's all I got. Like always, questions, comments, sarcastic remarks, shoot them my way. Everyone who's starting to graze, good luck this year. If you are just starting out this year, best of luck to you. Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. At the end of the day, you're just gonna have to guess. Every year, I seem to get a little more confident about what I'm doing and a little less concerned about making mistakes. You just gotta try it, make those changes, learn and grow. One more thing, that last video, I don't wanna complain about the weather. I don't wanna be that person that's online complaining about getting too much rain, because we all know there are a lot of farmers in different parts of the country right now that are in a severe drought already, and their projected rain outlook this year is very, very grim. They have been in droughts for years. just a little bit of frustration in that last video. I just wanted to make that clear, that I realize how lucky we are here to be getting moisture, and that it was a very temporary problem, especially when a lot of those farmers and ranchers are possibly going out of business the last couple years just because they are so dry. So thoughts and positive energy sent to those people. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you at the next one. All right, well, it's a little after 3 o'clock. Cows were moved. It looks good. I mean, they definitely nubbed it down. I don't know if it might be too bright and sunny. You guys might not be able to tell, but you know, they left some decent residual on some of it. Nubbed down other areas like, you know, like this here. Obviously, that's not a whole lot of leaf blade left. A couple, 2-3 inches. Some of the bare spots were clover, and you can see we have some creeping Charlie over here. Just some of the bunch grass, like here, you know, would have been a chunk of orchard grass. They left about 2 inches, so that obviously covered up this surrounding exposed soil. Now that bunch grass is gone, you can really see the soil. Pretty clear, definitive line though. I'm probably going to open them up at 5,000 square feet, you know, maybe give them another 1,000 square feet. So 2,500 in the morning, 2,500 in the evening. And as you can see, they took it down pretty good. I mean, that is a clear outline. Those gray posts obviously is the old cross fence. Yeah, happy with it. Open them up tomorrow, see where that gets us.